No, what's it doing?
I just went live. Oh. Unless this messes up again, we're live. And I ain't really sure what y'all are seeing. You're either seeing the front of an Aspen or a Dodge Charger. Because this thing don't like the video and everything all at once. If you've seen that last little bitty one that I'd done a while back, it's freaking out. My laptop's junk. According to this, it says there's one person viewing me. If I can at least get A, B, C, or something in the comments just to make sure that I am actually putting out, that would be greatly appreciated. I don't know if anybody's going to show up or if, you know, how many people's going to do this or what. You know, it's, you know, midnight where I'm at on the East Tennessee side of things, and hopefully I can get some going here. I don't know. Chloe, I love you, but you kind of in my way. Chloe's my dog, in case y'all don't know. Let's see if I can pull this up on the celly phone, so might be able to see more what's going on. Of course, this is the first live I've ever done. And actually attempting it to be something.
I know.
Okay, it just done something,
no.
So maybe I'm live again. I don't know. I'm still learning what I'm doing, folks.
No.
I've been talking the past 15 minutes and now it just restarted.
You're not getting them. Ow! Do it again.
Will you two quit?
Do it again.
Chloe, bed. All hell's breaking loose in my house.
Get in your bed. Now!
Yeah, this is turning into a beautiful live stream, I tell you that.
In your bed.
1 second, folks. Okay, now that drama's over with. Oh. Alright. If anybody's out there, throw something in the comments so I know you're there. I'm trying to figure out how to operate this blasted thing. According to this, we're not live. As soon as I figure out what in the world I'm doing here, folks, I'll let you know. Now we got a Mr. 76 Aspen just said hi. How are y'all doing? At least that shows that the comments are functioning. Figure with all this corona, you know, there would be people up at 12 o'clock on a Sunday evening. Of course, that's where I'm located, so who knows about somewhere else. Hopefully the audio's functioning. I don't know if anybody's gonna show up or... God darn it. I'm trying to make this thing work. I think the videoing... I think the video is laggy. Anyways, I guess if anybody's got any questions, you know, throw it down in the comments and such, and I'll try to answer it. Don't even know what to really talk about. You know, not doing a live before. Yeah, there's a lot of ums in this. Let's see. Got a few more things done on the charger today. Not really a lot, but did do some things. I got the a cold air intake, if you want to call it that, done. I got the drive shaft, of course, done. Y'all seen the last video and known that. Got the brakes bled, of course, same level of what they were last video. Still trying to wait on getting the last steering component that I need, which is a double U-joint, a DD on both sides, 3/4, to make a bend behind the starter to hook up the stock steering wheel up to the rack, because running a 727 transmission puts the starter in the way of the steering, because normally the starters are on the passenger side and 727 puts it on the driver's side. Really, other than that, that's really the only major issue I've had so far, putting the 727 into the 06 Dodge Charger, which would probably be the same for most of the Chargers. Hindsight, if I had known this and I wasn't using a transmission I already had, saving myself a little bit of money, I probably would have used I can't remember what year it is. There's a certain year Jeep that has a overdrive 727 variant transmission, but the starter's on the passenger side. They did offer those in a 2-wheel drive. Technically that would have been maybe a better transmission. I don't know how stout they are and how performancely they would function, but on the basis of that, you know, the 727 so far seems to be a good candidate. Dipstick's about 3 inches too short to be in a convenient location with the Hemi motor, but not really a major issue. You just kind of have to know where it's at and reach for it. But drive shaft wise, it's literally the drive shaft that came out of the 73 3/4 ton Dodge pickup truck that the transmission came out of. I had to take about, shoot, I can't remember off the top of my head, about 8 inches out of the drive shaft, do a lot of measuring and make sure it was straight, welded it back together. The adapter, of course, you know, you've seen in my videos, I built it. Surprisingly and shockingly as I am on that, is that actually bolts up. So I guess I done my measurements correctly. What else? The next video coming up will show a little bit more on, you know, what all I've done so far, which isn't voltage regulator and charging system, I'm thinking the battery is shot because it drops a lot of cranking amps when it's warm. It could be a starter issue, but I don't think so. I'm still in the process of trying to figure out the exact reasonings for this way it's acting, but it's charging at a constant 14 volts. And that's even testing it back at the battery, because you know the chargers have the battery in the trunk. So even charging back there at 14 volts, you would think that it would be able to put the power into it, but when it's warm, it's having a slight issue cranking it. Few possibilities, but I'm just going to have to pick away at it to see where it ends up. Let me think, what else have I done? With all this corona shit, man, it's a very difficult aspect to work on cars. You know, if I have all the parts here, it's not really a big deal. Mostly for the past few days, the only thing I've been doing is screwing around with just doing odds and ends, repairing my manual tire machine and trying to get it fixed so I can actually use it when I need to. Trying to use whatever I can do and do whatever I can do, considering I don't have any parts. The double U-joint DD on both sides, it makes a tighter bend style U-joint coupler. Currently eBay prices around 40 to 50 bucks. The downside is that's 40 or 50 bucks I don't have. Plus there's a huge question mark if, you know, the thing says it'll come in 3 to 4 days, and with all this corona Looney Tune-ness, it's probably would take 3 or 4 months. Who knows how long it will take for them to actually get it to me. So slowly trying to make some money. So whenever I make some money, I can get some components. If I get enough money, I can get enough components to maybe step myself up a game. Instead of just making it steer and move, I might actually be able to finish the body work and stuff before I fool with tagging it, insuring it, driving it, braking it, as things normally go. Now, since this is a Q&A, folks, if you got any questions out there, you know, throw them in and I will do my best to try to answer them. I'm not, you know, the smartest guy in the world, but I can definitely, you know, do it my best and see what I can come up with. Paint and body really ain't that much left to do. There's a few dinks and dings I need to mess with and a few little odds and ends, but really it's nothing terribly complex to go about. You know, it's sand it and knock the shiny off the factory paint and smooth out the rough areas where I've done body work or there was a dent or whatever, and, you know, prime those areas and block it a few times and all that wonderful shit, and throw some color to her and put some other colors where I need the other colors to be, and all in all, it should end up as a nice fairly straight little car when it's all said and done. You know, it's not going to be a showpiece, and really I don't want it to be a showpiece. If I can get a 20-footer out of it, I'm pretty happy with that. You know, it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm shooting for me doing as good as I can under the circumstances, you know, dirt floors and garage with bugs now and everything else, but, you know, I'm going to give it my best to make it the best possible outcome is possibly, you know, what I'm able to do under what tools I have available to me. You know, I went to college for auto body. I can do really good if I have the equipment and the, you know, work area and the desire really to freaking do it. So realistically, it's just a matter of doing it. Honestly, it's not difficult to do body work. The main keys about doing that is just, you know, learning not to sand too far or something. So, and of course, if you do sand too far, you can always throw a little bit more mud in there and move on down the line, you know. You know, if you don't sand far enough, it's going to stand out like a sore thumb. If you sand too much, you're going to have a dent there or a wave in the panel. Usually using a high build polyurethane primer, which will seal any of the filler below it, plus it'll give you something to cut with. Gives you ability to straighten out the panel and shape it in a way that, you know, with some block sanding and a little bit of guide coat, you can get her pretty straight, because, you know, when it stops taking the parts that sand, the guide coat comes off, and the parts that are still remaining, well, that's a dent. Or if you get shiny spots where you're cutting through metal to metal where you got a, you know, pump knot in that area, so you might need to address that one a little. You know, body work ain't really that difficult. Mechanicking really ain't that difficult either, because, you know, that's mainly what I've been doing since 2004, is doing mostly mechanic stuff. Of course, in that time frame, I did go to college for auto body, but the you know, and I kind of fell for the Dodges, so, you know, I started learning how to work on Dodges. But I actually find it kind of fascinating that people seem to be kind of like amazed that you can interswap Dodge like I can and stuff, and it's no different than Chevy or so, because, you know, they pretty much made the exact same engine from, you know, when you're talking about 318s and, you know, 273s and 360s and 340s and all more or less with that small block platform type LA to Magnum series of engines. They're pretty much identical all the way from the, you know, 64 to what, 2000, 2001 or so, when the last of the 360s disappeared. So, you know, realistically, they're basically the exact same basic design. Dodge is one of the interesting companies that once they add a hole in something, as long as it's still in the same platform style, they'll never remove it. As an example, which I haven't really done much of videoing on this on my channel, but the 72 step side truck, the mint green truck that I have, that's a 72 pickup truck. Started its life as a 3/4 ton. The cab and front clip started as a 3/4 ton. The bed's a 76. I ended up going to Greenville, South Carolina to pick it up. But the 72 square body Dodge truck is the first year of the square body trucks, and they ran that from 72 to 93, that rough square body style truck with some cosmetic changes here and there. But every single hole that was in the 72 frame pretty much was in the 90 frame that I have the thing sitting on now. Because it was a 3/4 ton long bed, I wanted it a 1/2 ton short bed, so I found a frame, which at the time the only frame I could find, it was a short wheelbase and everything, was a 90 short wheelbase, you know, 1/2 ton. It came with a V6 in it, you know, nothing super fancy, automatic, not, you know, just basic. Well, I took the 72 cab, it literally bolted right onto the frame, no problems. Put van lower control arms on the front and stock springs, which lowered the front, and flipped the rear end not flip the springs, but put the rear end on top of the leaf springs instead of underneath the leaf springs, which pretty much more or less gave me a level truck at a lowered stance. All stock suspension, so it still rides like a stock truck, it's just closer to the ground. I also put a 93 Dakota hydraulic 5-speed into it. AX15, of course, because AX15s I've found are pretty well bulletproof transmissions as long as you don't run the wrong oil in them. So they're pretty good. Of course, due to the fact it was a V6, it had the Magnum style motor mounts instead of the LA style motor mounts, so I could have done some cutting and welding and modified it, but since I was basically wanting to run a carbureted Magnum 318 or 360 in it anyway, so I just left it with those style mounts, and the Magnum bolts right in, no problem. Currently, the motor for that truck is sitting underneath a tarp. It's a what is it? It's a 93 Magnum 360 with 90 318 throttle body heads, the same motor as what's in Brandy's Ram Charger, with Wyan. No, it ain't a Wyan, it's a Willie, or I don't remember, something like that. 4-barrel intake with the Edelbrock 4-barrel nitrous plate. It has a custom ground cam that I designed. Windage tray. Head's been ported, polished. Titanium valves. Seats. Freaking titanium springs. Magnum Durango shorty headers because I like the flange style on them. It's got, don't even remember what rear end's in it. I know it's got a 3:21 gear ratio in the rear with the 5-speed. When I had the 318 in it prior to it blowing up, which it was a Magnum 318, technically came out of a Jeep, with the 90 throttle body, like Brandy's Ram Charger is heads, and that custom cam. Before it blew up, it would do 120 in third gear, and it didn't take no time to get there, and it has 5 speeds, so you had a few more gears to go. What does it say? You're not on there. Yeah, the video. I think you're talking about the video. The video is an issue with this my laptop. It doesn't like doing the video. It does that stop and go junk. So I just threw a picture on there.